Kia ora mai.
I call the Honourable Minister, Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I'll speak to some of the practical aspects of policing covered by this bill. Covert video camera surveillance is used in a wide range of criminal investigations to record activity at or comings and goings from a particular location. Principally, it's used to gather intelligence in support of criminal investigations, including support for applications for interception of private communications, to gather evidence for crime, including recording unlawful activity, identifying persons to link to other evidence, for instance, intercepted voices, to corroborate testimony of witnesses, for example, undercover agents and others, and informers, and to guide decision-making. It's also used to facilitate the safety of police officers and others, for example, undercover operatives, informers, other people present in premises, such as children in a meth cook area, and to protect police officers and witnesses who have been the subject of serious threats. And it's used to facilitate the safety of police officers and assistants lawfully entering addresses and localities pursuant to their lawful duty, such as armed offenders squad or termination teams, investigators or technicians entering cannabis plots. In the event of an armed siege, it might be used to view the suspect address and monitor the activity of a suspect. The situation such as the Napier siege following the murder of Senior Constable Len Snee, and provide the operation commander with best intelligence that they can get. An application writing has to be made on oath to a district court judge, JP, community magistrate or registrar for a search warrant. And there must be reasonable grounds to believe that the offence is punishable by imprisonment is involved. And that's what's been received in all these cases. Search warrants have been granted and they have been asked for. On occasions, police install covert video cameras after obtaining permission of the owners of the land. For example, cameras have been installed on private property with permission of the owner to record unlawful activity on the land. For example, people who are trespassing the land in order to cultivate cannabis. In other cases, owners have given police permission to install covert cameras on their land to record activity on adjacent public land or on a nearby suspect address. In the latter case, this is now unlawful following the Supreme Court decision. In these cases where surveillance from adjacent land is needed, it is far safer for the owners or occupiers for video surveillance to be conducted rather than to have surveillance by officers present on the land. There is far less chance of detection or suspicion falling on them, because criminals can be very hard on those that they perceive to be assisting police. The use of covert video camera surveillance involving entry onto private property as part of the exercise of a search warrant has now been declared to be unlawful by the courts. Police are therefore not able to lawfully undertake any further covert surveillance involving trespass, as there is nothing in statute to authorise it, and where this is critical to obtaining crucial evidence for offending, the police are now hamstrung in their attempts to prosecute such offending. Covert video camera surveillance onto private land from public land or from private land with the consent of the owner is likely to be an unreasonable search in breach of Section 21 of the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act following this decision. This will put in significant doubt the admissibility of evidence obtained from these types of surveillance, as it will have been improperly obtained in terms of Section 30 of the Evidence Act, and the courts will only allow it to be admitted if there are strong counter-arguments in the interest of justice for it not to be excluded. This will be particularly important where surveillance evidence is crucial to the Crown case. Mr Speaker, as a result of the Supreme Court decision, 47 operations, including 229 accused currently before the court, are potentially at risk. Over the last year, there have been, on average, operations involving 47 camera installations per month. Because of the nature of some of the installations, some will not fall foul of the law, but others will. It can be expected that a number of operations may not be initiated because of the Supreme Court judgment. Following the Supreme Court judgment, police do not believe that they can continue to use the surveillance equipment in the way that they have for at least the last 15 years. Over recent years, traditional surveillance involving a person watching people or suspect addresses from an adjacent place has been replaced by the use of modern technology. Even criminals have taken to the use of covert cameras to safeguard themselves from police. Police have adapted modern technology, including the use of covert video cameras, to facilitate investigation of serious crime for many reasons. In some situations, it is not physically possible to conceal a person, including urban and residential areas where police activity would stand out, or where the locals are hostile to police or sympathetic to the criminal subjects. Some operations go for lengthy periods and require change of staff, supply of food and other logistical issues. Installation of a covert camera can limit these issues. In remote or country areas, unusual activity or strangers stand out and might alert the criminal organisation. Experience shows that many methamphetamine labs are located in the back blocks, away from prying eyes. Use of video surveillance reduces the risk to police and members of the public. The risk to the safety of police staff is very high in some organised crime operations. By using cameras, we are able to safely and responsibly mitigate that risk. That is also true for members of the public who give police access to their homes to conduct surveillance on criminal suspects and addresses. Mr. Speaker, surveillance work is extremely dangerous. I think of the murder of Sergeant Don Wilkinson, murdered when placing a surveillance tool. This bill is necessary, and the Chief Justice in particular has invited Parliament to regularise the situation. This bill is necessary and it is urgent. Thank you.
I call the